Now several laps into the session, Niall Gagan looks to refine their line and timing.
As the session progresses, Niall Gagan is dialing in, looking more confident with each lap.
David Constable-Berry picking his way through Moss Corner, now still looking to put a representative time on the board with an hour left in the session.
Gio Geoghegan's taking his time to build some heat into those tires. No need to rush the banker lap with 60 minutes still on the clock.
Constable-Berry fires in a 1:17.6 to a quickest. Currently navigating through Quebec corners. He looks to find even more time. Still no time on the board for Niall Gagan, though he's got plenty of clean air to work with right now.
He'll be focusing on his reference points. At this stage of practice, it's about finding a rhythm before you really start leaning on the car.
Daniel Kakis threading the needle through White's corner, still searching for that first-timed lap of the day.
You can see he's being cautious with the weight transfer there. In these early stages, one small slip-up in a section like White's can ruin your entire run plan.
Jimmy Lindo's just working through Quebec corner, keeping it tidy while he gets his bearings before the first flying lap.
Coxis is taking a very methodical approach here. He's clearly more interested in checking his brake bias and turn-in than chasing the top of the screens just yet.
Lindo is still out there circulating without a time recorded, likely just getting the fluids up to temperature before he really drops the hammer. Greg Shabo turns in at turn 1, starting what looks like his first serious effort of this practice session.
He's using all the road on entry there. If he can get the car rotated early, he'll have a much better platform for the rest of the lap. Lindo's being incredibly patient, but he needs to start finding the limits soon if he wants to get a feel for how the car reacts on the edge.
Still no lap time for Jimmy Lindo as we approach the 10-minute mark of this session.
It's a bold strategy. He's likely running a heavy fuel load to see how the car handles the extra weight before he goes for a qualifying simulation.
John Bontakis joins the list of drivers yet to post a time, just getting his first look at the track conditions today.
He's keeping it very smooth. When you're just starting a session like this, you're feeling for the grip levels and seeing where the track has rubbered in since the last time you were out.
Lindo finally pulls the trigger and goes straight to the top of the sheets with a 116.8, flying through turn 1 now.
Talk about making a statement. He sat in the garage while the track evolved, then came out, and immediately bettered the benchmark by nearly a second.
Bontakis still hasn't registered the time, but he's got over 53 minutes left to find his feet. Kusha slots into fourth with a 118.7, currently working the car through Clayton Corner.
He looked a bit hesitant on the brakes there. He's nearly 2 seconds off Lindo's pace, so he's definitely got more to find in that middle sector.
Lindo is still sitting pretty at the top with that 116.8, and so far, nobody's been able to get within sniffing distance of it.
He's found a real sweet spot with the balance. Most drivers are fighting understeer in the slow stuff, but that car looks like it's on rails.
Geoghegan jumps up to third with a 117.1, keeping it tidy as he negotiates the technical Moss corner section. Adam Tyus is just rolling out now, one of the last few drivers to get his program started today.
He's missed the best of the track temps, but the grip will be higher now that some rubber has been laid down. He'll be playing catch-up for the next few laps. Gio Keegan's holding on to third for now, but he's going to have to find 3/10 if he wants to start bothering the front row.
Kokissis has been bumped down to 5th place, currently working his way through Clayton Corner as he tries to respond.
He's searching for the limit there, maybe overdriving slightly. When you see a driver taking that much curb, it's usually a sign they're trying to compensate for a lack of outright pace.
Gio Geoghegan's holding steady in P3, but he's got nearly 50 minutes left to bridge that gap to the leaders.
He's consistent, but I'd like to see him experiment with his entry lines a bit more. There's definitely a tenth or two hiding in the transition to the throttle.
Bounticus vaults up to 2nd place with a 1:17.0, and he's not letting up as he rounds Clayton Corner.
He really committed on the entry there. That's a massive improvement, putting him right in the mix with Lindo at the top of the standings.
Kokis is still hovering in 5th, back at Clayton Corner where he seems to be spending a lot of time searching for a better exit.
He's definitely struggling with the rear end through there. Every time he gets back to the power, he's having to catch a bit of oversteer, which is just killing his momentum onto the straight.
Lindo's benchmark of a 1:16.8 still stands as the time to beat with 48 minutes remaining on the clock.
Kosis needs to find a way to shave off those extra tenths. Sitting 2 seconds back from Lindo is not where he'll want to be heading into qualifying.
Lindo is looking untouchable at the moment, still holding that P1 spot as we tick under 47 minutes remaining.
Finally venturing out now. He's got a lot of data to make up compared to the guys who've already put in 10 or 15 laps.
Kruger Dorado sweeps through turn 1 to start his session, the latest driver to join the fray here with 45 minutes left to play with.
Norton's feeling out the grip through Clayton corner, just making sure the tire pressures are coming up evenly before he asks for maximum performance.
Lindo is still the man to beat, sitting comfortably in that top spot as the session clock continues to bleed away. Valenticus is pinned through the Mario Andretti straightaway, chasing down those few tenths that separate him from the top spot.
He's really using the draft there to maximize his top end. If he gets the braking right for the next complex, we might see that gap to Lindo shrink even further.
Nigel Walters is 6th quickest as he rounds Clayton corner, looking to shave some time off that 1:17.9.
Dorado's working the car through the S's, currently sitting in 9th, but you can see he's still figuring out the rhythm of this technical section.
Tyus is in 10th place with a 1:23, navigating Quebec corner as he tries to find his feet in this session.
Decent opening effort from Norton to put himself into P5. Clearly, he didn't need long to find the pace on those fresh tires.
Lindo's 1:16.8 is still the gold standard today, but with over 40 minutes left, he can't afford to get too comfortable. Martin Mole finally gets his session moving, turning into turn 1 for the first time, with 41 minutes still on the clock. Nigel Walters is holding steady in 6th, but he's currently over a second adrift of Lindo's blistering pace.
He's consistent, but I'm watching his mid-corner speeds, and he's just not quite carrying the same momentum as the guys in the top 3.
Callum sits in 7th for now, that 1:18 flat, keeping him right in the thick of the mid-pack battle.
He's just lacking a bit of bite on turn-in. If he can get the nose pointed earlier, he'll find those few hundredths to jump Nigel Walters.
Tyus is currently rounding out the top 10, looking to whittle down that 2-minute gap to the leaders as he gets more laps under his belt. Kruger Dorado is finding more time, moving up to 8th with a 1:18.2 as he negotiates Quebec corner.
He's much more aggressive on the brakes now. You can tell he's stopped learning the track and started actually driving the car.
Jimmy Lindo's name is still cemented at the top of the tower, that 1:16.803 acting as a serious barrier for the rest of the field.
He's really nailed the setup for these conditions. When you can put in a banker like that early and just focus on race trim, it puts you in such a strong headspace.
Martin Moll is still taking it easy, yet to post a representative time as he works through his initial install program. Walters is back through Clayton Corner, still sitting in 6th and trying to shave off those last few tenths to break into the top 5.
He's really hustling the car now. You can see the rear oscillating a bit on the exit, but that's exactly what he needs to do to close the gap to Norton.
Norton moves up to 4th with a 1:17.1, keeping it tidy through the tricky White's corner section.
Ben Nadine is just making his first appearance of the session. He's got a mountain of work to do if he wants to catch up to Lindo's pace with only 36 minutes remaining.
Kokas finds a tiny bit of time to go 1:18.6, but it only nets him 10th place as he rounds Quebec corner.
He's sliding down the order. That improvement isn't enough to keep up with the track evolution we're seeing right now.
Tyus is currently down in 11th and turning into turn 1, still looking for that breakthrough lap.
He's really struggling to get the car rotated early enough. If he doesn't hit that apex perfectly at turn 1, the rest of the sector is just a compromise.
Lindo is just picking his way through Moss Corner now, still looking very much the class of the field with that 1:16.8.
Kruger Dorado finds another 3/10 to consolidate 7th place. He's quietly chipping away at the deficit to the leaders.
Robert Cormack is currently 12th on the screens, over 3 seconds off the pace as he tries to find a rhythm here. Gareth Hallam is down in 9th now, working the car through Clayton Corner to try and find a response to those ahead.
He's definitely fighting some oversteer on the exit there. When the rear is that unsettled, it's impossible to carry the speed you need onto the following straight.
Greg Szabo is still without a time on the board, a very patient start to the session for him with just over half an hour remaining. Tyus finds a massive chunk of time to drop into the 1:18.6s through White's corner, but he's still stuck in 11th.
The track is clearly rubbering in now, but Tyus is just finding time where everyone else already has. He needs a bigger step than that to climb into the top 10.
Bontaki's edges even closer to that top spot with a 1:17.0, whittling the gap down to Lindo with 32 minutes remaining.
He is relentless. You can see he's tidied up those mid-corner corrections. He's clearly found a better balance, and he's hunting for that P1.
Hallam moves up into 8th place with a 1:17.7, showing great commitment through the fast-flowing S's.
That looked much more settled through the transitions. He's stopped wrestling the wheel and he's letting the car flow through the corners, which is where the lap time is.
Greg Szabo is flying down the Mario Andretti straightaway, finally looking like he's going for a proper flying lap.
He's got his head down now. After all that preparation in the pits, let's see if he can deliver the kind of pace we know he's capable of.
We're officially at the halfway point of practice, and Jimmy Lindo is still the king of the castle here.
It's a psychological blow to the rest of the field. They've had 30 minutes to beat his early benchmark, and he's still sitting there with that 2/10 cushion.
Norton is still 4th on the screens, navigating Quebec corner as he tries to find that elusive 10th to get into the top 3.
He's really testing the limits of the track. He's using every millimeter of the exit curve, trying to maximize his run down to the next braking zone.
Cormac breaks into the 119s through Quebec corner, but he remains at the tail end of the field for now.
He's still struggling with the car's rotation in the tight stuff. If he doesn't get that nose tucked in at the apex, he's just scrubbing speed all the way through the exit.
Kostas finds a significant improvement to jump to 9th with a 1:17.6, working hard through Moss corner.
Cormac is steadily chipping away at his times, but he's still nearly 2.5 seconds off Ringo's pace, with under 30 minutes left.
Norton's still holding on to P4 as he negotiates the tight turn at Moss corner, looking very consistent on this run.
Kostas finds another few hundredths on the Mario Andretti straightaway, but he's really going to need to find a way to break into the 17 zeros if he wants to climb any higher.
Kruger Dorado is flat out through the Mario Andretti straightaway, holding on to 8th place for now.
He's definitely found more confidence in the high-speed stuff. You can see he's barely lifting where he was being a lot more tentative earlier in the session.
Jody Fannin finally makes an appearance in the Moss corner section, yet to post a time with 26 minutes on the clock.
Better late than never, but he's really up against it now. He'll need to get those tires up to temperature quickly and start putting some laps together if he wants to be ready for qualifying.
Tyus is currently 10th as he enters turn 1, having improved to a 1:17.7 on his last flying lap.
He's still losing a bit of time in the middle of the corner. He's got the entry speed, but he's just not getting the power down as early as the guys in the top 5.
Constable Barry is sitting in 5th with a 1:17.1, just over 3/10 off the ultimate pace as we enter the final 25 minutes. Norton finds some serious pace to drop into the 16.8s, but he's still just shy of that top spot in P4.
Look at that gap at the top. The top four are now separated by less than a tenth of a second. This is getting incredibly tight as we head towards the business end of the session.
Gio Kangan is down in 7th place as he works his way through Moss Corner, still looking for that extra bit of pace to break back into the top 5. Holla moves up to 6th with a 1:17.1, just missing out on the top 5 by a couple of thousandths of a second.
He's really found his rhythm now. That car looks so much more balanced than it did 20 minutes ago. He's clearly made some setup changes that are paying off.
Dominique Favargu is navigating Quebec Corner on his outlap, another late starter to this practice session with 23 minutes remaining.
Norton is on a flyer. He moves into 2nd place with a 1:16.739, finally knocking Jimmy Lindo off that top spot. Wait, no, he's still just short of P1 by a fraction.
Chabot is into the 1:18.1s through turn 1, but it only puts him in 12th place in this incredibly competitive field. Tyus is sitting in 11th, still searching for that elusive 10th that will break him into the top 10.
He's consistent, but he's just lacking that ultimate peak grip. It looks like he's struggling to get the front tires to bite on the initial turn-in.
Cormac is down in 14th with a 1:19.1, finding it tough to climb the order as the pace quickens.
He's over 2 seconds off the lead pace. At this level, that's an eternity. He needs to find a more aggressive line through the technical sections to claw back some time.
Gio Keegan is in 8th place with 21 minutes to go. His earlier benchmark starting to look a bit vulnerable.
He's fallen back as others have found more time. He'll need to go out for another run soon if he wants to stay in touch with that lead group.
Constable Barry drops into the 16.9s through turn 1, consolidating his 5th place position as we enter the final 20 minutes.
Walters moves into the 17.4s through Quebec Corner. but that's only good enough for 9th place as the mid-pack pace intensifies.
Corsa is flat out through the Mario Andretti straightaway, holding on to 10th place for now.
He's really wringing the car's neck. You can see he's using every bit of the slipstream to try and find that extra half-tenth that's currently eluding him.
Lindo has been shuffled down to 4th, currently powering along the Mario Andretti straightaway as he looks to reclaim the top spot.
It's interesting to see how the session has evolved. Lindo was the benchmark for so long, but now he's the one doing the chasing with less than 20 minutes left.
Hallam is holding firm in 7th with that 117.127, but he's got a gaggle of cars right on his heels as we approach the final 15 minutes.
Sabo is working the wheel through Moss Corner, currently 12th, and looking for a way to break into the top 10 before the session ends.
Dominic Fovarg has set a best lap time of 1:18.211 so far.
As the session progresses, Dominic Fovarg is dialing in, looking more confident with each lap.
Walters is still 9th on the sheets, holding a 117.464 with just over 16 minutes remaining in the session. Norton is absolutely flying, finding even more time to go 1:16.597 and moving himself up to 3rd.
He's really found something in the final sector. That's a huge improvement and puts him right in the hunt for the fastest time of the day.
Constable Barry is back at Moss Corner, holding on to 5th place as we tick down to the final 15 minutes.
He's very tidy through there. You can see he's prioritizing the exit, which is crucial for the long run that follows. He's clearly thinking about race pace as much as qualifying.
Fovarg is currently 11th with a 1:17.675, just outside the top 10 as the session winds down.
Decent pace for someone who started so late. He's already within a second of the leaders, which shows he's found the limit of the car pretty quickly.
Benaden is finally on track through Clayton Corner, still looking for his first-time lap with less than 15 minutes to go. Hallam is screaming down the Mario Andretti straightaway, holding on to 7th place as the clock keeps ticking.
He's really leaning on the aerodynamics now. You can see the car is much more stable at high speed, which is giving him the confidence to stay flat for longer.
Norton remains in third with that 1:16.597, but he's still looking for that final 10th to challenge for the top spot.
He's really pushing the limits of the tires now. You can see a bit of smoke on the lockups, which suggests he's right on the edge of what the car can do.
Martin Moll comes out of nowhere to snatch the top spot with a 1:16.408, absolutely flying through the S's. Norton isn't taking that lying down. He fires back with a 1:16.388 to reclaim P1 by just 0.02 of a second.
What a response. These two are trading blows like it's the final lap of the race. This is exactly what practice is all about, finding that ultimate limit.
Rich Snape is navigating Moss Corner, currently sitting in 16th place as he looks to improve on his 1:18.228.
He's a bit wide on the exit there, which is costing him precious momentum. He needs to tighten up his lines if he wants to move up the order.
Fauvargue moves into the top 10 with a 1:17.263, showing some serious speed through the S's with 11 minutes remaining.
Tyus finds another couple of tenths to hold on to 10th place, but he's still got a lot of work to do to catch the lead pack.
Walters is back through the S's, currently sitting in 11th and looking for a way to break back into the top 10. Moll is pushing hard through White's corner. currently in second and looking to reclaim that top spot from Norton.
He's really aggressive through the transitions. You can see he's using all of the track and then some, trying to find every last bit of speed.
Greg Szabo is flat out on the Mario Andretti straightaway, holding on to 16th place as the session enters its final 10 minutes. Norton is still the benchmark with that 1:16.388, but he's got a hungry pack of drivers right on his tail.
He's looked incredibly composed all session. It's one thing to set a fast lap, but to maintain that level of performance over multiple runs is truly impressive.
Rich Snape finds a good chunk of time to move up to 13th with a 1:17.561, navigating turn 4 as he looks for more.
That was a much cleaner line through turn 4. He's starting to find the flow of the track now, which is exactly what he needs in these final minutes.
Constable Barry moves up to 4th with a 1:16.637, putting himself right in the mix for a top spot as the session winds down.
Kotsis is back into the top 10 with a 1:17.316 through Quebec corner. He's finding more time right when it matters most.
Jody Fannin is navigating Quebec corner, currently sitting in 14th with a 1:17.721 as he tries to climb the order.
He's still a bit tentative on the power. He needs to trust the arrow a bit more and get back to the throttle earlier if he wants to move up.
Stokes is pinned down the Mario Andretti straightaway, holding on to 17th with a 1:18.529.
He's struggling to find the ultimate pace today. He looks like he's fighting the car a bit too much in the high-speed sections, which is costing him valuable time.
Rich Snape is holding on to 14th place with just over 5 minutes remaining, still looking for that final bit of pace. Lindo finds more time to go 1:16.628, but he's still stuck in 5th place as he navigates Mosport.
This just shows how incredibly close the field is today. He's improved his time, but so has everyone else. He's going to need something special in these last few minutes.
Kosis is down in 11th place now, working through Clayton Corner as he tries to break back into the top 10.
Is struggling to find a pace. Currently 19th, with a 1:19.403 and only 4 minutes left to make a move.
Rich Snake finds a massive chunk of time to go 117 flat, vaulting into the top 10 as he navigates the Moss Corner complex.
Martin Wall is sitting in third for now, but you can bet he's eyeing that 200s gap to the front as we enter these final 3 minutes.
Naden rounding Clayton Corner, still stuck in 19th and really running out of time to find a solution for that 119 pace.
He looks like he's just trying to bring it home now. Sometimes when the setup isn't there, you just have to survive the session and regroup for the race.
Cormac is hustling through the S's, but that 118.4 only keeps him down in 18th as the final 90 seconds approach. Jody Fannin finds a huge chunk of time to go 1 minute, 16 seconds, and 7 milliseconds, jumping all the way up to 7th as he hammers through turn 1.
That's more like it. He left it late, but that car looks properly planted now. He's found nearly a second since we last checked in on him.
Norton finds another handful of milliseconds to cement P1 with a 1:16.3, flying through turn 4 as the clock hits the final minute.
He is absolutely critical. To find more time at this stage, with those tires likely past their best, shows just how much confidence he has in the front end.
Fannon's given it everything through the S's on what will be his final flying lap, looking to move up from that 7th place spot.
Gio Keegan's pinned on the Mario Andretti straightaway, but he's slipped to 11th, and the checkered flag is about to bring this one to a close.
Walters makes a massive late jump into 8th with a 16.7, still pushing through turn 1 as the clock winds down.
He really found the sweet spot in the final sector on that last lap. That's a great confidence booster to take into the debrief.
Now, several laps into the session, David Constable-Barry looks to refine their line and timing.
As the session progresses, David Constable-Barry is dialing in, looking more confident with each lap. Vannon is holding on to 7th for now, but with just over a minute left, he's got one last chance to throw that car at the apex and move up the order.
Get ready for some high-octane action as the drivers take on the challenge of qualifying at Mosport 2021. Just over 5 minutes on the clock, and Rich Snape is still looking for a gap in traffic through Quebec corner to start his flyer.
Lindo needs to get a move on here. You don't want to be left with one frantic lap at the end when the track is busy and the tires are past their peak.
Marcin Mol is just crossing the line to start his first timed run, diving into turn 1 with plenty of time still on the clock.
Mol goes straight to the top with a 1:16.8. That is a massive benchmark to set this early in the session.
Time is starting to slip away for Greg Sabo. Still no time on the board with only 3 minutes left.
He is cutting it fine. If he gets caught out by a yellow flag or a mistake now, he is starting from the back of the bus.
Nigel Walters is finding more pace through turn 1, currently half a tenth up on his previous best.
He is buried in 11th right now, so he needs to keep that delta clean. Every 100th counts when the midfield is this tight.
Martin Mol isn't sitting back on that provisional pole. He's 2 tenths up on his own best time.
He's finding more grip out there. If he pulls another 2 tenths out of the bag, the rest of the grid is going to be scratching their heads.
Mol crosses the line, but that's not an improvement. The 1:16.8 stands as his fastest.
He lost time in the final sector, probably pushed the entry too hard and overheated the rears. It's so easy to overstep when you're hunting those last few tenths. Dorado is right on his own tail here, only 100th off his best. He needs to find a tiny bit more rotation in the next few corners to move up from 6th.
Norton has just snatched the top spot away from Mol, and he is already faster through turn 1.
200ths up, he is absolutely on the limit. When you are in that flow state, the car just feels like an extension of your own arms.
Robert Cormack is struggling to make an impression here, currently holding 19th and matching his previous pace through turn 1.
He is just overdriving it. You can see the car snapping at him on the exit. He needs to calm his hands down if he wants to climb out of the basement of this grid.
Keep an eye on Phil Bodkin. He's absolutely flying down the Mario Andretti straightaway, nearly half a second up on his best.
That's a massive gain. If he can keep his head together through the final complex, he's going to rocket up from 13th.
Jareth Hallam is finding time through White's corner, nearly 2/10 up as the clock ticks down.
He's really leaning on those tires now. 10th is a decent spot, but he's clearly hungry for place in the top 2 rows.
Norton is putting on a masterclass. He's over 3/10 up on the fastest lap of the session.
He is in another zip code right now. To find that much time when you're already on pole is pure confidence.
Gio Keegan is making a late charge here, nearly 3/10 up on his personal best, with the seconds disappearing.
This is his final shot. He has to nail these last few apexes to move up from 13th, because the checkered flag is about to fly.
Constable Barry is digging deep in the final seconds, 1/10 of a second up on his previous best.
He needs this. P14 is a dangerous place to start in the pack, and that little gain could move him up a couple of rows if he keeps it tidy to the line.
Rich Snape is putting the hammer down through Moss Corner, finding over 1/10 of a second on this final attempt.
Bonetakis is on an absolute flyer, 3/10 up on his best. That is going to shake up the mid-pack standings if he can bring it home.
Bonetakis makes it across the line and jumps up to 10th with a 1:17.4.
He squeezed everything out of that run. Moving into the top 10 gives him a much cleaner view of the first corner for the race start. David Constable-Barry looks like he's backed off or hit trouble on this lap. That delta has blown out to 9 seconds. He'll be relying on that earlier 1:16.9 to keep him in third.
A gentle breeze is stirring at Mosport 2021 today, perfect for the start of the race. Elliott Norton starts from the best spot, pole position. Martin Mall sitting pretty on the front row. That radical looks absolutely lethal in his hands. David Constable-Berry lines up right behind the lead pair, looking to ruffle some feathers in that State Route 3.
He might be Pro-Am on paper, but he's got the pace to keep the pro guys honest if he nails this start.
Jimmy Lindo rounds out the second row, perfectly placed to capitalize if the leaders get elbows out into the first turn.
Lindo needs to be decisive here. If he hesitates, Constable-Berry is going to shut that door immediately.
Chris Stokes starts from fifth, a bit further back than he'd like, but he's got the race pace to carve through this field.
Snape's leading the AM charge from sixth, and honestly, if he stays out of trouble, he's in a great spot for a class win.
Dorado is buried a bit deep in seventh. He's going to have his work cut out for him when those lights go out.
It's crowded back there. Thomas needs to find clean air fast, or his rear tires are going to cook while he's fighting for scrap.
Jareth Hallam starts from eighth, right in the thick of the mid-pack chaos.
That is a tough spot to be in. Hallam has to be careful not to get squeezed before he even gets his boots on the ground.
A surprising qualifying result for Jody Fannin down in ninth, but we know how aggressive he can be on the opening lap.
Bounty rounds out the top 10, and for an AM driver, that's a solid platform to build a race from.
Phil Bodkin slots into 11th, just outside that top 10 bubble.
Bodkin will be looking at Bountakis right in front of him. That's his immediate target for the AM class lead.
Italy's Greg Szabo starts from 12th, hoping to find a gap and move that State Route 3 forward early on.
Nicole is starting deep in the pack, and in these radicals, visibility is going to be a nightmare, with 12 cars ahead kicking up heat.
Niall Gagan starts from 14th, plenty of cars ahead to navigate if he wants to get into the points today.
Neil Constable-Berry down in 15th. He's got the whole field to look at. He just needs to stay patient while things settle down.
Nigel Walters brings up the rear of the grid in 16th, ready to launch as the tension builds here at the start. Adam Tyus is right at the back of the queue in 17th, and he's got a mountain to climb today.
Sometimes starting here is a blessing in disguise. You let the chaos happen in front of you, and just pick up the pieces.
Green, green, green! The radicals scream off the line, and it is a drag race to the first corner. Elliott Norton holds his nerve and keeps the lead through the opening sequence.
Perfect launch. He's already reading his marks and trying to break that slipstream early.
Bounty holds firm in 10th, surviving that initial swarm of cars without losing a single spot. Bounty is holding his own in 10th, keeping it tidy while the pack settles down around him.
He's played it smart there. In the middle of the pack in lap 1, sometimes just staying where you started is a massive win.
Fanning remains ninth, but he's glued to the gearbox of the car ahead.
He's stalking now. I've been there, just waiting for the car in front to overcook it while the tires are still coming up to temperature.
Fannin makes the move. He jumps up to 8th, leaving Hallam less than half a second behind to deal with his wake. Dorado is hounding Snape through Clayton Corner, just 0.2 the difference, as they fight for 6th early on.
Dorado is right under the rear wing now. Snape has got to be feeling the heat with that gap down to a 10th.
It is breathless stuff so far. These radicals are so twitchy on cold tires, and nobody's giving an inch.
That is the thing with the SR3, it feels like a go-kart on steroids. You have to be so precise with your inputs or it just snaps on you.
I was watching Norton at the front, and he looked so composed, but that pack from 6th down to 10th is just a swarm of bees.
I remember racing aero cars like this. The dirty air is a nightmare. Dorado is doing a brilliant job staying that close to Snape without losing the front end.
Do you think the AM drivers are playing it too safe? Or is the pro pace just that much more relentless today?
It is a bit of both. The pro guys find that extra 0.5% in the braking zones, but in a 10-minute sprint, the AMs know one mistake, and their race is cooked.
Down at the tail end, Dominic Fovard is practically pushing Cormac along. Only 2 tenths between them as they battle to move up from 19th. Fovard gets the job done. He's picked his pocket and demoted Cormac to 19th.
Clean move, and he's already put a bit of daylight between them. That gap's out to nearly 0.5 seconds already.
It is impressive seeing moves being made that far back in the pack. The intensity doesn't drop just because you're out of the podium spots.
Every position is a point, and in these short sprints, you cannot afford to wait for the race to come to you.
You mentioned the aero earlier, Sky. How much does that come into play when Fovard is trying to pull away like that?
Massive. Once you break that 0.5 second barrier, the car behind loses the toe, and suddenly they're fighting the air as much as the car.
We've seen a lot of clean racing so far, which is surprising, given how narrow some of these sections feel in a wide track radical.
These drivers have clearly spent time in the sim. You can tell who has the spatial awareness to go wheel to wheel without ending up in the barriers.
Nigel Walters has found some serious rhythm on lap 2. He is right on the gearbox of Neil Constable Barry.
Walters just set his personal best, a 1:19.6. He is finding more grip than the guys around him right now.
Walters is on a tear. He's bypassed Neil Constable Barry and immediately gapped him by almost a full second.
That was a statement move. He didn't just pass him, he drove away from him. Neil's gonna have to find an answer for that pace quickly.
Walters is absolutely flying. He's picked up another place and broken into the top 10.
He's in the zone. That gap to Neil Constable Barry is out over a second now. Nigel is just putting his head down and charging.
Daniel Kosick is hunting down Neil Constable Barry through Quebec Corner, and he's just clocked a rapid 1:18.3.
2 tenths! Kosick is using every inch of the track there. He's got much better momentum through the exit than the car in front.
Kosick makes it look easy. He sweeps past Neil Constable Barry to take 11th and starts pulling away instantly. Neil Constable Barry is falling back into the clutches of the pack. He just can't seem to buy a break at the moment.
It is mental more than anything else. Once you lose 2 spots in 2 laps, you start overdriving, missing your braking points, and it just snowballs.
I have to say, the lap times are tumbling. We're seeing 1:18s now as the fuel loads drop and the track rubber's in.
Those tires will be at their absolute peak right now. The Radical really rewards a driver who can keep the minimum speed high through the apex.
7 minutes left on the clock, plus that final lap. Is this where we see the leaders start to get desperate?
Not yet. They'll be managing the gap. It is the mid-pack guys like Kosick and Walters who are really providing the fireworks today.
John Bontakis is on an absolute flyer. A 1:17.1 as he glues himself to Jareth Hallam's tail.
He's finding time in every braking zone. Hallam is going to have to get defensive here, or he's going to lose 7th place before the lap is out.
Bontakis gets it done. He's cleared Hallam, and he's already setting his sights even further up the road.
Wait, have a look at the timing screen. It looks like they've both gained a place. Someone ahead must have hit trouble to promote Bontakis to 7th and Jareth to 6th.
Rich Snape is breathing down the neck of Jody Fannin, just 2 tenths, separating 5th and 6th now.
Snape is really punching above his weight here as an AM driver, keeping a pro like Fannin right in his crosshairs.
Snape is staying absolutely glued to the back of that Radical. He's not letting Fannin breathe for a second.
He's looking for the overlap everywhere. Fannin is taking a very tight line to protect that 5th place, which is only going to hurt his exit speed.
Jareth Hallam is trying to mount a comeback through Clayton Corner, keeping Bounty Keys within 4 tenths.
Hallam's lap was a bit slower that time around, a 1:18.9. He needs to stop looking in the mirrors and focus on that pursuit of 7th.
Vitaminaden is having a lonely time in 15th. He's over 6 seconds adrift of Cormac after a very messy last lap. The gap just keeps growing. For Nadine, he's now 6.5 seconds back from the car ahead.
He's clearly struggling with the balance, or maybe some aero damage. You don't lose time like that unless something is fundamentally wrong with the car's behavior.
Back in the points battle, Kosick is all over the back of Nigel Walters, searching for a way into 10th place. Daniel Kosick dives down the inside and takes 10th. They are side by side, practically zero gap between them.
Rubbing is racing. Walters is trying to hang it round the outside, but Kosick has the line and the position for now.
Rich Snape hasn't given up on that top 5 yet, setting his best lap of the race as he stalks Fannin.
Fannin has found a little breathing room, stretching that gap out to 6/10. Snape's best lap just wasn't quite enough to bridge the gap this time.
Dominic Fauvargue is on the move. A personal best of 1:17.7 puts him right on the heels of Kosick.
He's come from nowhere. Fauvargue is finding pace at the perfect time, while everyone else's tires are starting to give up.
The gap is gone. Fauvargue is within a 10th of Kosick. He is looking for any opening he can find.
He's got the momentum. When you're that much faster over a lap, the car in front starts making defensive mistakes. It's only a matter of time now.
The lead has changed. Martin Mole is now out front with Elliot Norton chasing him down. Only 4/10 between the leaders.
Mole must have pounced while we were looking elsewhere. Norton isn't letting him go, though. That 1:16.9 is scorching pace.
Fauvargue's charge has hit a bit of a snag. The gap to Kosick has opened back up to 4/10 after a slower lap.
He's clawing it back, though. Fauvargue is relentless, bringing that margin back down to 0.3 of a second.
We finally have a change at the very front. Mole leading Norton is a massive shift in the dynamic of this race.
Norton led for so long, he might have overcooked his rear tires. Now he's the one dealing with the dirty air and the high temps behind Mole's exhaust.
It's a different kind of pressure when you're the hunter rather than the hunted, isn't it?
Totally. When you're chasing, you have a reference point. When you're leading, you're just looking at an empty track and a mirror full of someone else's car.
The mid-pack is still incredibly tight too. Fauvargue and Kosick have been inseparable for the last few laps.
That's what VVS is all about. Whether it's for 1st or 12th, these guys are giving it everything until the final flag.
John Bontakis is looking very dangerous in 7th. He's within 0.3 of Snape.
Bontakis has been consistently quick. Snape has been busy fighting Fannin ahead, and that's allowed John to just sneak right up on them.
Martin Mole is holding onto the lead by the skin of his teeth. Norton is just 0.3 back.
Look at that lap time, another 1:16 for Mole. These two are in a league of their own at the front, trading blow for blow.
Disaster for Martin Mole. He's plummeted to 4th place and he's now over 4 seconds behind Norton.
And while Mole dropped back, Jimmy Lindo has surged forward. He is absolutely glued to the back of Norton's Radical, only a 10th in it.
Norton has managed to gain a tiny bit of breathing room, stretching the lead over Lindo to 0.3.
Lindo had a look, but couldn't quite find the gap. Now he's got to gather it back up and try to set up another move before the time runs out.
Through turn 1, Bovard is right back on the attack, just 2/10 behind Corsa.
He's much deeper on the brakes into the first corner. If he can keep that nose tucked in, he might have him on the run to the next complex.
Kosick manages to rebuff the attack, extending the gap back out to half a second.
That was great defensive driving. He saw Fovard coming, placed the car perfectly, and forced Dominic to compromise his exit.
Baltigist is practically in the cockpit with Snake. 1/10 of a second is all that separates them as they fight for 6th. David Constable-Berry has moved into 2nd, and he's hunting Elliot Norton for the lead, just 3/10 back.
Norton is doing just enough to stay ahead. That gap has opened up to 4/10, but David is still very much in this fight as we enter the closing stages.
Martin Mull's recovery drive has him in 7th, comfortably clear of Jareth Hallam by nearly 3 seconds.
He's still got the raw pace. A 1:17.1 on lap 10 is impressive. He's just trying to salvage whatever points he can after that earlier incident.
Elliot Norton has the finish line in sight, but David Constable-Berry is throwing the kitchen sink at him, just half a second back.
He needs to keep it smooth. One slip on these worn tires and the win is gone. This is the ultimate test of nerve right now.
Elliot Norton takes the checkered flag. From pole position to the top step, he's survived the pressure to win it.
He earned that one. To lead most of the race, lose it, and then battle back to the front. That is championship winning stuff right there.
David Constable-Berry crosses the line in 2nd, a fantastic result starting from 3rd on the grid.
He didn't make it easy for Norton. To push the leader that hard on the final lap shows just how much performance he had left in those radicals.
And Jimmy Lindo secures the final spot on the podium. A brilliant, measured drive to move up from 4th and take 3rd place. The rest of the top 7 stream across the line, with Fannin holding on to 4th ahead of Snape, Baltigist, and a recovering Martin Mull. Hallam secures 8th, followed by Nickel, Walters, and Daniel Kochis, rounding out the top 11.
Solid points for Walters getting into that top 10. He worked hard for that in the middle stages of the race.
Fovarg, Cormac, Neil Constable-Berry, and Naden complete the field, all bringing the Radicals home after a relentless 10 minutes of racing.
Dorado, Tyus, Bodkin, and Niall Geoghegan finish off the order. It might not be the result they wanted, but every lap completed is more experience in these tricky cars.
Sky, the drivers are lined up and ready. Should we get it on?
Yes, Hal. We should definitely get it. On.
Niall Geoghegan has the inside track from pole. Phil Bodkin starts on the front row, putting that Radical State Route 3 right in the mix for the M-Class honors.
Tyus is sitting right behind the lead pair, and if he gets a good launch in that SR3, things are going to get very crowded into turn 1.
Thomas Grigor-Dorado lines up in 4th, looking to use that Pro-Am experience to disrupt the Am drivers ahead of him.
Nadine starts from 5th, and in these radicals, that's a prime spot to capitalize if the front 4 get too aggressive early on.
Constable Barry rounds out the 3rd row, looking to keep it clean in the State Route 3 and pick up places as the race settles in.
Cormac starts 7th, and he'll be feeling the heat from behind. Mid-pack in a radical is a frantic place to be when those lights go out.
Dominic Fovarg starts from 8th, looking to punch through the M field in that State Route 3 XXR.
He's got his work cut out for him. Starting mid-pack means you're reacting to everyone else's mistakes, rather than dictating your own line.
Daniel Kosick lines up in 9th. The Hungarian driver will be eyeing the back of Fovarg's car as the grid slots into place.
Kosick is a quick learner, but starting down in P9 means he's right in the danger zone for any opening lap chaos. Nicola's buried back in 11th. He's going to need to be decisive on the brakes if he wants to move that radical forward.
Jareth Hallam completes the 6th row. He's got a lot of ground to make up from P12, but the pace is definitely there.
Martin Mall is starting way out of position in 13th. As a pro driver, he'll be carving through this field like a hot knife through butter.
Bautikis has his work cut out from 14th, but in these SR3s, staying out of trouble can often be half the battle won.
Snape starts deep in 15th. He'll be hoping the pack bunches up early so he can sniff out an opening.
Jody Fannin finds himself way back in 16th, a surprising spot for a pro driver on this grid.
He won't stay there long. It's frustrating being that far back with the pace he has, but he'll be looking to exploit the slower AM cars early on.
Jimmy Lindo rounds out the field in 17th. He's got the whole pack ahead of him and everything to gain from him. Green flag! The radicals scream off the line, and it is a frantic dash into the first braking zone.
Niall Gagan nails the start, keeping his composure to lead the field through those opening turns.
Gagan holds his nerve and keeps that lead into the first complex of corners.
He got that State Route 3 off the line perfectly. No wheel spin, just pure traction to stay clear of the chaos behind.
Tyus is glued to the back of the leaders, keeping his nose clean and holding on to that 3rd spot.
Tough break for David Constable Barry. He's dropped back to 20th and has a mountain to climb now.
Constable Barry is right on the gearbox of Robert Cormac, just a 10th between them as they fight to recover ground. Constable Barry gets it done. He's picked off Cormac to move into 19th.
He used the slipstream perfectly there. Now he needs to put his head down and try to break that 10th of a second gap before Cormac can run back.
David Constable Barry is on a charge. He's up to 17th and sniffing around the back of Bautis, with 10 minutes plus a lap to go. Something has gone catastrophically wrong for the order here. Boontakis is suddenly miles up the road in P1, while Constable Barry is left over 100 seconds adrift.
Neil Constable Barry is absolutely flying down the Mario Andretti straightaway. He's got the slipstream on Corbar, and he's only a 10th back.
Constable Barry makes the move stick. He powers past Fogard to take 6th. They are virtually side by side.
Fogard fights back. He's retaken 6th and immediately opened up almost a second on Neil Constable Barry.
Stokes is hounding the back of Snape for 10th place. That gap is just a single 10th of a second.
Stokes gets past Snape, but he's not stopping there. He's already onto the back of 9th place.
Elliot Norton has found his rhythm on lap 2. He is breathing down the neck of Nigel Walters.
He just set his personal best, but being a 10th back is the danger zone. You start taking tighter lines to find a way through, and that's when the tires
Norton gets the job done. He slots into 7th, but Walters is refusing to let that gap open up.
Zero gap there. They're practically sharing the same piece of tarmac. Walters is going to try to cut back underneath him at the next apex.
Walter snatches 7th back. This is a proper scrap between these two.
That's what I love to see. Immediate retaliation. Norton left the door a fraction too wide, and Walters didn't need a second invitation.
Phil Bodkin is all over the back of Kruger Dorado through turn 1. There's absolutely nothing between them. Kruger Dorado managed to find a bit of breathing room, stretching that gap out to 4/10.
He nailed the exit of the turn, while Bodkin just caught a tiny bit of oversteer. At this level, that's all it takes to lose a couple of car lengths.
Darren Nickel is holding on to 15th, keeping Constable Barry over a second back for now.
He's finding some consistency with that personal best lap, but he can't afford to relax with over 7 minutes still on the clock.
Stokes is right on the tail of Martine Mole as they navigate the tricky Moss corner.
2/10 is a dangerous gap here. If Mole misses the apex even by a hair, Stokes is going to dive down the inside.
Disaster for Stokes. He's tumbled down to 12th, losing nearly 4 seconds to Mole in the process.
Daniel Kosick is in 11th and trying to stabilize, but Stokes is recovering quickly and sits just half a second behind.
Wait, Kosick has dropped back further. He's down in 13th now, while Stokes has cleared him by nearly 5 seconds.
He must have had a moment or run wide. In these radicals, once you lose that momentum and drop out of the slipstream, you're a sitting duck.
The slide continues for Daniel Kosick. He's dropped another place to 14th, and the gap to Stokes is ballooning.
Something is seriously wrong there. 16 seconds is an eternity. He might have sustained some damage in that last scrap.
Nigel Walters is clawing his way back towards the top 10, sitting just 4/10 back from Rich Snape. Snape is just managing to stretch that lead out slightly, moving 6/10 clear of Walters.
Walters is working those front tires hard, trying to stay in touch, but Snape seems to have found a better rhythm through the technical sections.
Elliot Norton is flying. He's just set his best lap, and he's hunting down Nadine through White's corner.
4/10 is nothing at this pace. If Nadine misses his braking point by just a meter, Norton will be alongside him before he knows it.
Norton makes it happen. He's up into 5th place as they cross the line side by side.
That was a clinical leap. He carried way more speed out of the final turn and just out-dragged Nadine to the stripe. Walters is still glued to Snape's gearbox. He's dropped his lap time down to a personal best to keep the pressure on for 9th.
Greg Sabo is currently in 13th. While he's just set his quickest lap of the race, he's got 6 seconds of clean air to bridge to reach Constable Barry. The mountain has just gotten twice as high for Sabo. The gap to Constable Barry has doubled to 12 seconds.
He must have had a major moment or a trip through the grass. At this stage of the race, that's almost certainly killed his chances of catching the group ahead. Nickel is in a dogfight for 17th with Tyus, but that 2-minute lap time suggests he's recovering from a massive incident.
Tyus is finally starting to break away, pulling out nearly a second on Nicole as they head into the next sequence. Nicole has gained a spot to 17th, and he's actually managed to trim a 10th off Tyus.
He's fighting back. Once you get your head together after a big spin, it's all about finding that rhythm again and picking off the cars that went past you.
Neil Constable Barry is pushing hard in 12th, closing in on Chris Stokes with his best lap of the session.
7 tenths is a gap you can really work with. He's seeing the rear wing of that radical ahead, and it's like a red rag to a bull.
Constable Barry is chipping away at it. He's down to just 4 tenths behind Stokes now. We are looking at the battle for the lead. Niall Gagan is all over the back of Kruger Dorado.
2 tenths between first and second. Gagan is waiting for even the slightest hesitation from Kruger Dorado to pounce.
Greg Szabo is holding 15th place, keeping a healthy 2.5-second cushion over Tyus.
He's got decent pace, but being isolated like this is tough mentally. You have to keep hitting your marks without a rabbit to chase.
Wait, Szabo has plummeted. He's dropped to 18th, and he's now 7 seconds behind the man he was just leading. Gagan has lost a bit of ground to Kruger Dorado, the gap stretching out to 7 tenths of a second.
Looks like he might have overcooked the tires trying to find a way past. He needs to breathe, let them cool down, and go again.
Kruger Dorado is slowly edging away, putting nearly a full second between himself and Gagan.
He's managing the race beautifully from the front. Every time Gagan looks like a threat, Thomas just finds that extra gear to stay out of reach.
Elliot Norton is on a tear. He's just clocked his fastest lap and is within 7 tenths of Fobard for fourth. Norton is absolutely relentless. He slashed that gap in half and is now right on Fobard's tail.
He's got the momentum. Fobard will be checking his mirrors every 2 seconds now, and that's exactly when you start making mistakes.
Jareth Hallam is making moves at the back, closing to within half a second of Darren Nicol.
He's got the pace to move higher. He just needs to be clinical with this overtake, so he doesn't lose time to the pack ahead. Mall is hounding Ben Nadine for 6th, just 3 tenths in it as they stream through this lap.
Mull picks up a place. He's through into 6th and already sizing up Nadine for 5th.
Wait, something's not right with those standings. He's past 6th, but Nadine is still listed ahead in 5th. It's a total dogfight for those middle positions.
Constable Barry is keeping Stokes honest in the battle for 11th, holding steady at half a second back. That gap between Constable Barry and Stokes is frozen at 5/10, neither driver giving an inch.
It's a stalemate right now. They're matching each other blow for blow, waiting for someone to blink under braking.
Niall Gagan is trying everything to stay within striking distance of Cougar Dorado as the clock ticks down. Gagan has found something. He's halved the lead, and he's right back on the tail of the leader.
He's definitely found a second wind. He's taking a much more aggressive line through the corners, really forcing Cougar Dorado to defend.
Martin Mall is under immense pressure from Nadine through Clayton Corner. That gap is down to just a 10th.
Mall is having to park that radical on every apex to keep Nadine behind. One small slip up here, and he's losing the position.
It's a two-car break for the lead. Gagan is stalking Cougar Dorado, just 2/10 separating them. Thomas Cougar Dorado is 20 seconds from glory, but Gagan is practically in his cockpit, just a 10th of a second behind. Thomas Cougar Dorado takes the checkered flag, an incredible drive from fourth on the grid to claim the victory. Niall Gagan crosses the line in second, just short of the win after starting from pole.
He gave it everything, especially in those final laps, but he just couldn't find a way past Cougar Dorado's defense. Still a fantastic podium for him.
And what a result for Elliot Norton, finishing third after starting all the way back in 19th.
That is easily the drive of the day. To carve through 16 cars in a field this tight is absolutely staggering. He was on another level today.
The top 10 is filling out with Fauvarguet, Moll, Nadine, and Fannin coming across the line in quick succession.
Great recovery from Jody Fannin to get back to 7th, and Martin Moll really had to work for that 5th place in the closing stages.
Snape holds on for 8th, followed home by Stokes, Walters, and Constable Barry to round out the top 11 finishers. Bodkin and Cormac lead the next group home in 12th and 13th, with Hallam and Sabo following them in.
Tough day for Bodkin after that front row start. He'll be looking at the data tonight to see exactly where that pace disappeared to.
Tyus, Lindo, and Kugasis cross the line to bring the races to a close, completing the classification in what's been an exhausting sprint. David Constable Barry officially claims 14th place, ending a hard-fought battle in the midfield.
He had some real flashes of speed there, especially during that mid-race recovery. He'll definitely have some stories to tell about that scrap in the paddock.